What's going on, Cleveland Browns fans? Today I'm going to go over the initial 53-man roster and give you my predictions for week one against the Cincinnati Bengals. Before we get into it, just like and subscribe really quick. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get into it. Starting off with the quarterbacks, got to feel a little bit safe with Joe Flacco at the helm. I mean, he's been in the league for 15 plus years. I think he's going to be solid. And then his backup, they announced, is Dylan Gabriel, 6 years in college. Seems to be more like a game manager, but they really like how he processes the defense. And, Kevin Stefanski's really huge on him. And then the third quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, seems a little bit raw, but can make some throws. We'll see if he gets any playing time this year. I'm not really sure if he will, especially after that last preseason game against the Rams. Got sacked 5 times, running backwards, losing yards. We'll see about him. Now we go over the running backs. Obviously, we haven't heard anything as of now. What's going to happen with Quinshon Judkins? This room would be a lot better with Quinshon Judkins in it, but we'll see when the Browns sign him. We'll see how long he's suspended for. But leading off the room is going to be Jerome Ford. Not a huge fan of Jerome Ford. I feel like he's a real boom or bust running back. He could break 60-plus yard runs, but then also there's games where he runs for less than 4 yards a carry, which just, I don't know. I think he's better. The best thing about his game might be catching the ball out of the backfield. I've never been huge on him. And then we go with the rookie Dylan Sampson. Had a great season last year with Tennessee. Had a lot of touchdowns. Kind of dropped. Fell in the draft, I guess I could say. 4th round. He had the stats and everything, but the reason he dropped, I guess, is because of his size. Not a big back. Not very tall. But, there's been a lot of guys in the league to have success. I guess we're just going to have to see how his game translates to the NFL level. But yeah, kind of don't know how to feel about the running back room right now. Now let's get into receivers. Starting off with Isaiah Bond. Once again, another guy we don't know how long he's going to be suspended for with his off the field issues. But he was a speed demon at Texas. And it seems like he's going to shoot up the depth chart really quick. We don't really know who's going to be the second best receiver on this team next to Jerry Jeudy. So, Bond ran the second fastest 40 time in the draft, the combine. So we'll see about him. DeAndre Carter, they brought in just to return punts and kicks. Don't really know too much about him, but he's a vet, so we'll have to see what he does. I doubt he's going to be lining up as a receiver. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to have an absolutely stellar year. He's speedy, great route runner. I think he's going to mesh really well with Joe Flacco, kind of like what we saw with Joe Flacco and what's his name? Amari Cooper in the 2023 season. I just think they're going to be lights out, and that's going to open up a lot of stuff for some of the other guys. Gage Larvidan, undrafted guy, had a great camp. The Browns seem to really like him. Catches the ball with his hands. Wasn't dropping the ball. Seemed to have a lot of I don't know what you want to say. A good repertoire with Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shador. It seems like they always like to throw to him. So it's always cool to see what the undrafted guys do that make the team. Jamari Thrash had a really good camp. I like the way they were throwing it to him over the middle in preseason. Seems like he could catch with his hands well. He was great coming out of Louisville. Didn't really see the field too much last year, but I feel like he's grown a lot. So it'll be interesting to see what he could do. And then Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman was really balling out last year until he got hurt. And then we didn't see him the rest of the year. Don't really know what he's going to bring to the table. Is he going to be the number 2 receiver? Or, I just don't really know about him. He's just kind of unknown to me right now. But who knows? Okay, tight ends. Don't really know much about Brendan Bates. Blake Whitehart's solid. He's going to be the third tight end. And I think they're probably going to have him in on running downs, being more of a blocker. Harold Fannin Jr., can't say enough about him. Had a huge season last year for Bowling Green. Tons of touchdowns, tons of yards. I would say he's not a huge tight end, but he's speedy. So I would not be surprised if they line him up more as a slot receiver, kind of like running up the seams or getting behind the linebackers. He's going to be a linebacker's worst nightmare. And then David Njoku. David Njoku's I'd say a great tight end, blocking and receiving. But he gets injured a lot, and he also has the dropsies. But he's another guy that really plays well with Joe Flacco. So I think we got a really good, solid tight end room. You also got to think going back to Kevin Stefanski's offense this season, we're going to see a lot more 2 tight end sets. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a 3 tight end set. So we're really going back to, solid Cleveland Browns offensive football. I mean, I think the Browns work better under center, not really much of a spread offense, just kind of like old school football. And getting into the offensive line, not going to go over them too much. You got the vets, Joel Bitonio, amazing guard, but this has got to be his last season. Jack Conklin's a solid tackle, but, he's always hurt. I'm very surprised he's still on the team, but, got to give them props for not giving up on him. DeJuan Jones being the starting tackle this year. Hopefully he takes the next step. He is a mammoth of a man. So I'm really hoping he grows more but we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, Ethan Pocic is a solid center. I know he's injured right now, so I don't know if he's going to play week 1. But I believe Luke Whippler would be the next man up, Ohio State guy. And then Wyatt Teller. Wyatt Teller is a very good lineman. I love how he runs downfield, pancakes guys. He plays with a nice swagger, I'd say. Going forward, defensive line. Myles Garrett is Myles Garrett. I think he's the best defensive end / edge rusher in football. He's going to give the offense fits day in and day out. Mason Graham, the rookie, I will say I was kind of mad that the Browns took him in the first round. I wanted a guy like Ashton Ginty. You know, Browns haven't been running the ball good the past couple years. But I will say we haven't been stopping the run very well in past years. So, I mean, Mason Graham was amazing for Michigan. You know, I can't stand the Michigan guys, but I got to give credit where credit's due. I'm really warming up to him as a player, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do for the Browns. Next up, I'll talk about Aiden Huntington. Made the Browns as an undrafted free agent from Tulane. Man, he was just exciting and electric in preseason. I mean, last preseason game against the Rams, I mean, he was very impressive. First snap of offense, they had him in as an H-back. I think that is so cool when they have bigger guys, you know, blocking downfield. I think that would be really cool to see him stick around in like that H-back role / fullback goal line. I think that could be really fun. It kind of reminds me of, the Bears back in the day with the fridge. He also is on punt and kickoff. So, I mean, it's interesting. He was making tackles on punt and kickoff. So, that's pretty crazy to see a guy as big as him speeding down the field and just, making tackles. That's very impressive. We'll see how much he plays early on, but I think he's going to make his way out on the field. Excuse me. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka came from the Buccaneers. It'll be interesting to see what he brings to the field. I don't really know who the Browns are going to go with on the opposite side of Myles Garrett. Maybe he will be the guy, but then you also got to look at guys like Isaiah McGuire and Alex Wright. Two solid guys. Alex Wright was looking really good last year until he got hurt. And Isaiah McGuire had a really good preseason. So I think this is going to be a solid group. I think we're going to get immense pressure from our front four. I think we're going to stop the run really well this year. Going into the linebackers. Devin Bush, we don't know how much of a suspension he's going to have. So, one thing that's really going to kill our team is all these guys that are going to get suspended. I think the three guys that I talked about getting suspended, Devin Bush, Isaiah Bond, and Quinshon Judkins, I think they're all going to get suspended. That just seems to be how the NFL runs. I would expect 4 to 6 games around there for each of those guys. But, I mean, we'll see. Carson Swessinger, second round pick out of UCLA. Once again, not a guy I really wanted the Browns to take. I was kind of scratching my head. I believe he was only a 1-year starter in college. I could be wrong. I mean, he has good tape, really good tape all over the field. The quarterback of the defense. Obviously I wanted more of a flashy player. I was thinking, one of the Ohio State running backs, but then obviously they took Quinshon Judkins with the next second round pick. So I warmed up to it more. He looked so good in preseason, the limited snaps he played, Carson Swessinger. And what I love the most about him is Mason Graham and him play really well together. Mason Graham blows up the backfield, and Carson Swessinger is right behind him, right on his ass, going in there to make a play. So I think we're gonna dominate, stopping the run. Also, I mean, there was one snap that I saw of Carson Schlesinger. I believe it was against the Rams where they lined him up as like a nose guard. That is really cool. You got to think Jim Schwartz is going to dial up crazy types of pressure, and Myles Garrett's also going to be able to rush from the inside, the outside. So it's going to be really interesting with these young guys. And then we'll talk about defensive backs. Grant Delpit, solid player. I like the way he fills the run. Other than that, Greg Newsome, I think he's going to have a solid year this year. I believe this is a contract year for him, so I mean he's gonna have to make plays out there if he wants another contract. We'll see about that. And then Denzel Ward, I think, is a top 5 corner in the league. I think he's just lockdown corner. Really impressed with him always, but he's also always injured. If you take Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome off this list, I just don't think it's that great of a, DB room. I think we're probably going to need to acquire more guys, because if Ward goes down, we're screwed. If Newsome goes down, we're screwed. But, we could always make a trade. I believe we have 10 picks in next year's draft, so we have draft capital to kind of get other players. And then we'll talk about our specialists. Corey Bojorquez is an awesome punter. I mean, we got really lucky getting him. So obviously he's going to have a big year. Great with the field position game, pinning other teams inside the 10 and the 20. So, and then Andre Schmidt, who beat out Dustin Hopkins. Don't really know about him. I know he won the Lou Groza Award for best kicker in college. He played in the UFL last year. I don't really know how big of a leg he has. I think he's kicked around, sub 60 yard field goals, but he was pretty good in the preseason. It was kind of cool that he got that rep against the Eagles, where the Eagles iced the kicker and he made the kick. So that's always really impressive. On to week 1 against the Bengals. I am actually predicting the Browns to win. I know that's crazy, but what I will tell you is the Bengals have a great offense. I would say the top receiver room in the league. Obviously a top 5 quarterback, Joe Burrow. I think Chase Brown's a really solid running back. I believe they have Mike Gesicki as a tight end, so that's solid as well. But when you get into their defense, I think they might be the worst defense in the league. That might be a little harsh, especially since they're getting Trey Hendrickson back. I would say he's probably maybe a top 5-ish pass rusher, led the league in sacks last year. But a lot of people are talking about that the Browns aren't going to be able to score points this year. Yes, our running back room as of right now without Quinshad Judkins might be the worst in the league. But if you remember how Joe Flacco commanded the offense in 2023, he was throwing the ball all over the field. Yes, he's definitely older now, but I mean, he has some nice favorable targets, Jerry Jeudy, he gelled really well with Jerome Ford, throwing the ball to him. David Njoku, I mean, another favorite target of his. And then I really think he's going to like Harold Fannin. Also, who knows? Maybe Isaiah Bond is just going to be a speed demon like he was in college, and, we'll have a nice deep threat. But I think we're going to give Cincinnati fits throwing the ball. I really do. And if we open it up throwing the ball, I think that's going to give us some lanes to run the ball. Plus the game's at home. There's, Cincinnati doesn't always play well here. I believe Cincinnati's lost maybe 3 of the last 4 home openers. 2023 they lost here to the Browns. Last year they lost to New England. So it doesn't seem like they start well out the gate. But I will say, the Bengals played starters in the preseason, so that was probably good for them. I've heard that Joe Burrow obviously looks really good. I feel like Joe Burrow's kind of struggled with our pass rush in the past. I mean, doesn't have the greatest offensive line. But, I mean, with the Browns adding Mason Graham, he's going to disrupt the interior. It's going to open up stuff for Myles Garrett. And I think it's going to be maybe too much for them. I don't think that the Browns are a better team than the Bengals, but I think we might be able to steal one. I know this isn't going to be a well-liked opinion of the Browns winning, but I believe it's going to be something like 27-17 Browns. I feel like it's going to be a more high-scoring game. But, yes, I think the Browns are going to win week 1. But I also thought they were going to win week 1 last year against against the Cowboys, and we all saw how that went. So, yeah, that's my predictions and my insight. Make sure to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.